Hi everyone, I'm Zach Parmeter with Golden Eagle Log and Timber Homes. And welcome to tonight's live Q&A with our panel of log and timber home experts. Up on the stage with me right now is Justin Jankowski and Jeff Heeg. We'll be fielding all of your questions from the live chat below, so be sure to submit them. We also have quite the collection of already pre-submitted emailed questions, so we'll be sure to try to get around to those as well. To my right is Justin. Justin, you've been with Golden Eagle for, is it 13, 14 years?
16, Zach.
I'm sorry,
16.
Justin, 16 years now. And you started in our engineering and design department.
Correct, you bet. Yep.
That really must help you a lot working with clients on designing their dream log and timber home. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, and that's my favorite part of the process. Why I love the whole entire home building process. I mean, designing that home with the customer is near and dear to my heart. Yeah, I've spent 16 years here at Golden Eagle, part of the Golden Eagle family, but 10 of that was in our design engineering department. About 6 years ago, moved into sales, and boy, just being able to take all the ideas that the customers come to me is really fun. I love starting with fresh ideas, new ideas, while we have thousands of standard plans. I really like when I can start with basically just a clean sheet of paper. That's really my favorite part of it. So.
And a lot of people are coming to you with fresh floor plan ideas. That's what a lot of people think of when they're first thinking of their dream home,
right?
Is they start thinking of that floor plan. But I'm sure a lot of people are in that research phase. They're trying to figure out which company to go with. So
right.
What's your advice for someone who's researching log and timber homes?
Sure. I mean, one of the biggest things is just see how long they've been in business. Are they credible? We've been in business for 54 years. So we got a long line of happy customers through over 5,000 homes, probably 5,200 now homes. So that's really, credibility is a big thing. We haven't been in business this long for not doing the right things,
Well, thank you, Justin. And speaking of credibility and a long line of happy customers, let's talk about Jeff. Jeff, you've been at Golden Eagle a long time as well. How many families have you put into homes?
Yeah, I was just thinking when Justin was talking there, we basically started about a month apart.
Right.
We've both been here. This is our 16th year, is what it's been. In the 16 years I've been here, and thank the good Lord, I've sold probably 375, give or take, homes. And it is a very fun process that all of the salesmen will really take to heart. We want to be with you from before, during, and after the sale is what we want to do. Like I say, I started at Golden Eagle 16 years ago. In my earlier days, I worked for a plumber. I won't tell you what years, but plumber and electrician. I was in the solar heating business. I was in the insulation business. I was in the siding and roofing business. And I was self-employed for 24 years. And I think that really gave me a drive to do my own thing and to work with customers. So it's a lot of fun, the process is.
Well, I'm sure that's very beneficial because a lot of people come with many different questions right out of the gate.
Yep.
They want to know about foundations, floor plan, whether their lot is a good lot to build on, insulation, all of that.
Correct.
So being that so many people do have these questions, that's why we're doing this panel tonight. There are a lot of people out there. I'll ask you the same question I asked Justin. They want to know, what should I be looking for when researching log and timber home companies?
Yep, I take great pride that we work for a company that treats you like family. They really do. And the thing that I really like, that when we take people for tours, I invite you all, we all invite you to come here to Golden Eagle. There is not a company in the United States that has a home facility like we have. We have a 22-acre campus here, and we do everything on site. We don't outsource. We kiln dry our products. We profile all of our logs here. And probably we have a model home that's just under 2,700 square feet, that it's 17 years old and it looks like the day it was built. It's fantastic, that model. We're always making improvements to it. It's fantastic. And probably the gem of what we have is we're setting in part of it here. We have a 9,000 square foot showroom that you can come in, for example, and say, I like that countertop and that sink and that faucet and that shower, and it's all here. And our products are second to none. And we have Kohler, Delta, Moen, Pella, Tamco shingles. They're as good as you can get. You don't have to upgrade. Our packages are wonderful. So I could go on forever talking about why.
I talk about it in two different phases, really. All the products you just talked about, but then all the services too.
Yeah,
I mean, from the design team having the design team right in the next office. If there's questions about code requirements or what needs to be done, what can and can't be done, those guys are right in the next office.
Yep.
The next office over is pricing, purchasing, customer service.
Yep.
Having all the services that we offer, 6-day-a-week customer service is second to none too.
Easy
I
way of
agree.
summing that up, we're here before, during, and after the sale.
you go,
I mean,
yeah.
our customer service department after the sale is fantastic. If you don't know what color stain you put on your home, we have records of it. So.
And speaking of clients, Jeff, Rob Cochran from Gilbert, Arizona,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
working with him, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, so
Hi,
says,
Rob.
he says hello, and he would like to know about floor plan revisions.
Sure.
So we talk about 50 free revisions, and he'd like to know if moving the master suite from one level to the next level, does that count as one revision, or is that multiple revisions?
Rob, good to hear from you again. I love our conversations we've been having. It's going very smooth. The revisions don't actually start, Rob, until after we do that planned service form that I sent you, that 9-page form. So any revisions you want of moving, rooms around in a house or making your garage bigger, this is all done in the preliminary stage. Your revisions start once you get your first floor plans back. And I've been here 16 years and I've never had anybody go over the amount of revisions, because we'll go through that in very much detail and tell you what we recommend with you. If I need to get somebody in from the design department to help me out, we'll definitely make it right for you. So don't worry about the 50 revisions. We'll go through all of that. You'll have no problem.
And Rob, I also see your question asking if we will mail out interior and exterior stain samples. We absolutely will. We do find that when you come to visit us at our design center showroom, that is a great opportunity for you to put all of those colors together. So that is great if you haven't visited us yet.
No, he hasn't yet.
Oh, he hasn't yet?
No.
So Rob, you've got to get here. You got to see all the options that are out there, because when you pair all those colors together, it really starts to paint the picture. Now, when we're typically sending out all these samples, a lot of that's for HOA approval. So it's something that we're very accustomed to doing. We also have a question that was emailed into us from Kim, and Kim's asking about the selections process, picking out all these colors and finishes and doing it remotely. And that is also another way that we accommodate remote selections, is we'll mail you samples. Justin, we have a question that was emailed into us, and they're asking about the insulation difference between a 2x6 wall and a full log wall.
Sure. Great question. Yeah. Most people are familiar with insulation and R value, and that's how they determine how energy efficient their home is by how many R values are in that wall. That's probably the type of home you're living in right now. And while our half log homes, our timber style homes, that's the way a lot of those are constructed. They're conventionally built walls, 2x6 exterior walls or bigger. And then we'll put fiberglass insulation in those cavities. It's really two different types of systems. So with that system, with the insulation, really what you're trying to do is slow down the heat loss of that home. With full log construction, it's based on thermal mass. So the bigger the log, the more energy efficient the home is going to be. We offer 8, 10, 12-inch size logs. So when you get that log heated up, it's going to retain that energy and then radiate it back out, whether it's heat in the wintertime or coolness in the summertime. But yeah, all of our homes are going to be energy efficient as well. Our windows, our flashing system, and our full log system, the raised heel, the energy heels that we use in the roof systems, makes our homes super energy efficient.
Yeah, energy efficiency is one of the design principles that we apply to every single design.
For
So
sure.
it's
Yeah.
code compliant wherever it's being built.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Jeff, you live in a full log home. Will you
Correct.
talk to us about the experiences that you've had with the thermal mass benefits of full
Oh,
log?
definitely. I think an easy way of saying that is when, let's just say your furnace is going or your fireplace is going in the wintertime, and you actually go up and put your hand on a log, it feels warm. Where if you'd put your hand on a sheet of drywall, it's cold. It doesn't have the thermal mass quality that a full log home will have. And that heat will come right out of your log. Think of it like a battery. When you need it, it'll come right out of there into your living area. You get home at night and you get the fireplace going and you get your feet up and you're watching TV or whatever you're doing in your full log home. You don't really want to go anywhere. I'll tell you that. It's a very relaxed feeling, that's for sure.
Huh.
Yeah.
Hey, coming back to Rob, Rob had a question about how long does it take to put together a weather-tight shell? Either of you have a good idea on
Yeah, I mean,
timeline?
it's really going to depend on the size of the home. I could probably guess it's probably going to take 2 to 3 months for an average size home to get that shell up and get it weather tight for you. Just depending on size of home, size of crew of the builder, but that's pretty normal timeline.
Great. We have a question sent in from Jay, and Jay is wondering how long do they need at our design center to go through the whole selections process? They're going to be coming from out of town and they want to figure out travel time. Well, Jay, I would say typically we get it all taken care of in one day, but a lot of that comes with prep work ahead of time. So we'll do shared computer screens, we'll do Zoom calls, and that way we can discuss cabinet layouts ahead of time, and then that allows us the time to work on things separately from you and then bring you back a presentation inspired by a lot of your ideas. That way when you guys are here at our design center, we can make efficient use of your time. We also have had clients spend 2 days with us. So really whatever fits your schedule and your needs. We're certainly here to take as much time as needed. It is your dream home. We're not here to rush you.
Zach, I think something that's really interesting is a couple of weeks ago, a home that I'm selling right now, they're building in the state of Wyoming, but he lives where? Scotland.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So he did his final selections with Zach and Dela over a computer screen from the country of Scotland. And it went fabulous. So anywhere you're building or anything you're doing, we can work with you, that's for sure.
Yep, and really with everyone, we try to have those preliminary design meetings.
Yep.
That way we can just take care of things efficiently. And then it allows us to get everyone here at Golden Eagle involved.
Sure.
Before you come and have those meetings. But yes, Tor and Heidi, they had everything approved within 24 hours probably.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, it really is. We have a question here from Gary. Gary would like to know if he can easily add 100 square feet to a floor plan, and that would help him meet an HOA requirement.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Certainly much easier to add square footage than take away from the home. So yeah, I mean, that's easily done during our preliminary design phase. Whether you just cut a line to add a couple square feet here, or add an entire room to the house or a second floor, no problem for our in-house design team.
Amanda, we see your question about you want to build your home from scratch and you really want to do everything yourself. So your question is, how do we accommodate that? Will you guys touch on a little bit about how we have our builder services and how it really kind of helps more of the do-it-yourselfer out too?
You've probably seen it on our website. That's a great question. We get asked that a lot. You've probably seen it on our website. Our latest sequence of videos that we have is a DIY, do it yourself. And are they on the 4th one now? Is that?
We'll be releasing the 4th episode shortly.
Yep, okay. And you can watch that from, digging, putting in the foundation, pouring the slab, all the way up to where they are done with that now. So that'd be something really, really good to see. Another thing that I'm really proud of, that we have builders, we have do-it-yourselfers, or we have construction companies come in, and our final plans are so detailed, we get compliments on it always, our code compliant plans. But they'll come through here with our either our general manager, Chris Stitcher, or one of our head designers, Tim Scholar or Mike Bashinsky, and they go through that plan, every detail on how your home goes together. And I think your home is very important. Why would you want to go through plans of a different home? It will be your home. They'll show you every detail, how the windows go in, how the trim is put around that. Even if when it comes down to staining and things like that, they go through every detail. So again, before, during, and after the sale, we're here for you.
Right.
So.
The past 2 days, we've had builders in.
Yep.
Tuesday was a contractor who's built many homes with us prior to, but I think he's added another crew. Wanted to bring his crew down, his second crew, and get them up to speed. And then today was another builder that I had in. It was a new builder. Just going over proposals with him, and he was blown away by our final construction documents. He really was. He's like, wow, and he's built hundreds of homes. This isn't the first time, and he was mind blown by our details and the complexity and, well, really simplicity of the final construction documents.
I'll add one thing to that. I had a contractor one time telling me, he says, Jeff, are you telling me that you think it'd be a good idea for me to take, he was from northern Minnesota, bring my whole crew down here. I'd have to pay them, coming down and on the way back. And I said, yes, I think it'd be very worthwhile. Well, he came down, and at first he was kind of reluctant. And he came down, and probably about 30 days into building that home, he called me up one day, and he says, I want to thank you because, yes, I had initially come up with the money. I probably saved 30 days in building this home. Now look at the final picture.
Right, yep.
And it took care of his guesswork. He knew the right answers now.
Right,
so,
yeah.
And if he had questions, please call in.
Right.
So.
It may take that half a day up front, but you're going to save that way more on the back end for sure.
Yep.
We have a question from Calvin, and Calvin is asking, what's the difference between an ultra custom timber package and an exposed beam premium complete package?
Sure. Yeah. The ultra custom timber package really was developed from the video series that we did on your home, Zach. We knew we were going to that video series was going to be awesome, and people are going to want that level of amenities in the home. And that's what we geared that package. So if you really want to know the fine details of that package, really take a look at that video series. It's going to detail everything out. You can see the luxurious heavy-duty timbers throughout that home, the heavy timber framing, the elaborate cabinetry and doors that are in there. Very top-notch. The exposed beam, very popular package. I'm selling a ton of those styles of homes right now because it gets you that, a very similar look to what you've got in your house. Just brings that cost down a little bit. And most people probably don't know the difference. But still nice, heavy, hand-hewn timber framing, hand-hewn trim work throughout that home, nice cabinetry, pretty similar amenities, just kind of toned down a little bit. So
I think adding to that too, we have some customers that come in and they don't want to hear upgrade. They don't want to hear upgrade. The UCT is already there. You've got basically every upgrade that you can possibly think of is already priced in.
Yeah.
So that's
most people are gonna receive credits from that ultra custom timber package, but there's some people that want that and want that level of luxury. So everybody's different.
Yeah, it's really nice when we do have an ultra custom timber client come into the showroom and they're doing their final selections, and they can nearly pick anything that they see, and it's going to be already figured into their package. And most of the items that they pick, they'd be getting a credit back.
Right.
So we really do start at top of the line with ultra custom timber. An interesting thing to also note, though, is it doesn't mean that, in some cases, one material selection may cost more, but doesn't necessarily mean that it's that much better. So I'd like to also point out that's probably why our exposed beam is so popular, because those are still really high quality items. It's just they're not as rare as the items that are in the ultra custom timber. So the ultra custom timber is really geared to someone who wants items that you just can't find anywhere else. I think that's pretty relevant. Someone would like to know if they can get a tour even if they don't live in Wisconsin. So we do have a 3D tour, and you can walk around our facility. We also do have a lot of other videos out there, but really you need to come here and see what we're all about. It's quite the place. And
now adding to that, we have something online you've probably seen, or we could email it to you, what we call our travel bucks. That if we'll reimburse you $1,000 travel to come to our home facility, because we feel it's that important for you guys to see everything that we have firsthand. And if the materials package, let's just say easy example is $100,000, you'd only owe us $99 for coming here. That's an easy way of summing it up, is we reimburse you travel expenses to coming. So
there's a question here, and I think it's a real easy one. The question is, if we do homes that are around 1,500 square feet, I mean, Jeff, how many homes have you sold around 1,500 square feet?
Sure.
Quite a few.
In our brochure and online, a home that always comes out when I think about it, it's called the lakefront plan. And that plan, you can see it, it's the same square footage home. One of them is just the house with an open loft. The next one is the house with a garage and with a deck on it, nothing up in the loft. And the next revision, that's the 1566 AL, BL, and CL. The CL has a covered porch, it has a garage, and now up in that loft, it has a bedroom, a bathroom, and a walk-in closet. So that's one of the things where we hate talking about prices per square foot, because every home that I just talked about right there, the square footage never changed. But the last one I talked about with a covered porch and the finished upstairs in the garage is definitely going to be more money. So that's why it's hard to say square footage prices. So the more we know from the customer on what they want, the more accurate we can be.
Yeah. Justin, would you say that there are some common misconceptions when it comes to pricing a home by square foot?
Oh, for sure. Just like Jeff mentioned, I mean, there's going to be a ton of things that are going to go into that home that are going to affect the final cost of the home, but not touch the square footage. You know, decks, covered porches, garages, the size of the garage, even screen porches and three seasons room are not going to count towards the final square footage of the home. So, you know, it can fluctuate that square footage cost quite a bit. Even finishing the lower level, the complexity of the home. You know, a 2,000 square foot single story home is going to be a higher per square foot cost than a 2,000 square foot two-story home. Then you add in maybe the cost of finishing that basement, it's going to bring that square footage price down too. So, yeah, it's you know, it's best to find a plan that we can price. We can develop a materials package cost for you, and then usually we put a multiplier depending on where you're building in the U.S. or Canada on top of that.
Calvin sent in another question. They actually closed on their land today.
Wow.
So congratulations, Calvin.
Big first step, yeah.
It certainly is. They're likely 3 to 5 years away from starting a build. How soon until they should reach out to us?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna tell people year and a half to 2 years really before you want to move into that home. So that's going to give you ample time now to put the design together, put the pricing together. You know, so you're not rushed through that. I mean, this is your dream home. Let's not rush through this process. Let's take the time and make sure every little detail is uncovered. So, and then, you know, getting in the builder schedule too is kind of a big thing right now too. The building industry is rocking and rolling. So builders' timelines may be pushed out a little bit. So now you're going to get the choice of the builder you want, and you can fall within his schedule and not get delayed.
One thing I would add to that too is never put the cart before the horse. Most of the time, it doesn't cost a penny to find out from a bank what you can get approved for. And it's not going to hurt your pride. You need to find that out. It's better to find it out first than later, you know, what your budget can be. Right. And most banks don't charge a penny. They'll let you know what it is. So.
Speaking of how much something costs, we have a question here, and it is, how much more does an actual timber frame home cost compared to an exposed beam home? This person doesn't just want to see decorative beams, they also want it to be actually structurally timber frame.
Structural timber frame?
Yeah.
Again, we get to that per square foot cost again. It's hard to determine at this point, you know, without actually looking at a plan, getting some information from you of what you want in that plan. But it is going to cost more to have a structural timber frame home. You know, if I had to put a number on it, maybe 20-30% more going to a structural timber frame. If I had to, you know, put a number on it.
Another thing to add on that, and you know, Justin and I, we do shows a lot with timber frame guys right next to us, and most of the time it's just the hot zone. The center part of the home is the timber frame, right, and the wings are conventionally framed with the log accents if that's what you want. So most of them are a combination anyway. So. Yep.
Well, thank you guys. Thank you to the both of you. We've got some more questions coming up. I think they'll be perfect for Jan and John, and give you guys a little break. We'll bring you back on later. Jan, we've got a question here. But I suppose before we get into that, Jan, it's the first time we brought you up here tonight. So let's talk a little bit about your history, your background. You've been in the industry for 30-something years now, right? How many families have you put into homes?
Well, so I've been doing this pretty much my entire career. Once got done with college, I kind of moved right into the construction industry. So I've been doing this for 34 years now. Yeah. And about 1,200 homes, families I've put in new homes. So it's, I love doing what I do, and it's just great to be with the people. Yeah.
And what would you say your advice is to somebody who's researching log and timber homes?
So if you're starting the process, there's three major things that I would tell you. First off, property. It's important to own the property or to know exactly where you're going to build the home, because for us to help you design the right house to go on that property, we need to know where it's going and, you know, the topography of that property. Secondly, budget. You need to develop a budget so we know how we can gear you towards what the right house is for you. Which is a very important factor. And finally, you have to have some kind of idea of a floor plan or a layout of a home that you're looking for. So when we get into the design process, we have a good idea, so we know whether you want 3 bedrooms or 2 bedrooms, whether you want a 2-story or a lofted home, or if you want a ranch-style home. So all these will have a big effect on helping you plan for that project.
Thank you, Jan. And John, welcome to our panel tonight. You've been with Golden Eagle for, is it 13, 14 years now?
Just went to 14 years in August.
Yeah, congratulations. It's been great to have you here, and you have really made quite a stamp on our shipping department. So we're really well known for delivering all the materials as they're needed throughout the construction phase. And you've also been the go-to guy for the builder network throughout the country. So you've seen quite a few projects. Will you talk to us a little bit about that experience and how that helps you with today's clients?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, I started 14 years ago. Actually started out in like the production side of things, moved into the shipping department, got really involved in obviously managing that department, staggering those deliveries, which we're, like you said, so well known for our builders. We're not just going to drop everything off day one, here it is, and we're done. And then as part of that customer service 6 day a week that Justin and Jeff had talked about earlier, you know, we were here 6 days answering the phone if any builders had any questions, formed really good relationships with a lot of those builders across the country. Was involved, you know, we build 100 homes a year, so involved with about 1,400 homes over my time, and brought all that knowledge into sales now, and now I'm helping my customers develop their plans.
I think something that's really special is that if you're getting a question, it's usually pretty complicated because these are very competent builders. So here you have your head into a complicated question. You're looking at all these plans. That's got to be quite the education.
You know, it's one of the things we always tell people, again, going back to that builder training too, not to simplify things, but a lot of times when the builder calls up and has a question, they can be found right on our plans because our plans are just that well put together, and that's no lie. I mean, when I first moved into this customer service, I didn't come from a technically building background, you know. I moved in there, I just kind of picked up job shadowing with another guy that was in that office, and just watching him kind of put that skill to use and really realize that, you know, usually our plans are so well detailed that builders on the job site, you know, they don't have time to go through all the plans constantly, so they might just pick up the phone and just say, hey, John, I got a quick question. I'm looking at this, blah, 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 blah. And you can just jump on one of our pages and be like, okay, you know, Builder Bob, take a look at page 8, detail 510. There it is. Oh, great, thanks. So that's how well our plans are, you know.
And John, what would your advice be to someone out there who's researching log and timber homes?
You know, one thing I was thinking while Jan was answering it, big thing is look at a company who's offering what you want, right? So there's companies out there, we're not the only log home company, you know, but there's companies that might not do full log. They're only going to have half log homes, and you really want a full log. So that's one thing I think is really important. We offer all of it. You know, we offer full log, half log, quarter log, timber frame, ultra custom timber. So I mean, coming here, you're guaranteed to get what you want, but you know, make sure they're offering what you actually want, and then they're not trying to push you into a certain package because that's all they have to offer.
I think that's terrific advice. That's a very good idea. Very good point. We go to log and timber home shows around the country, and usually you'll always hear them always saying what they offer is the best, but sometimes it's because they don't offer anything else.
Exactly.
Well, Jan, we had an email question sent to us from Alec. Alec is in Michigan. His area is really well known for their local fieldstone. Can you use that in his home, and how would he go about doing that?
Well, of course, Alec, yes. You can use your own product, your stone from your site. Golden Eagle isn't forcing any of our customers to buy every single product from us. So if somebody's got a brother that makes cabinets, or their uncle is a plumber and wants to provide the plumbing products, in his case, if he wants to provide the stone, no problem. As long as it's not a structural component, so that when we design and engineer your home, it won't have any problems with the structure, then absolutely you can supply any product that you'd want, and we'd have no problem. We'll work with you to make sure that the home is prepped and ready to go for that product.
Thank you, Jan. John, Brad sent in a question asking about the higher lumber prices that have been affecting the market lately.
Sure.
What would your response to that be?
You know, absolutely. It's no lie. I mean, it's on the news, right? Everybody's seen lumber prices went up a little bit recently. One good thing with us, we buy our logs in 2 years advance. You know, we have 2-year inventory on all of our half log, full log materials, so we didn't see an impact on that cost. We also buy in a fairly decent volume for our log lumber. So, we were able to kind of hold those a little bit. Obviously, you still have job-specific things like floor systems and trusses that might have been impacted. But, we all think I guess here at Golden Eagle, we think it might just be a temporary thing that the recent prices went up. They'll stabilize back down, and, building's going strong. So that's the big thing I know. Building's going strong.
Yeah. We also have a question from Brad, and he's asking about delays with construction being so busy. I think something that we should point out is that interest rates are so good right now that everyone wants to build a new house. So that's probably also why contractors are as busy as they are. Are you running into any delays?
I don't think there's necessarily delays. The thing is, things just take a little bit longer than maybe someone thinks. A lot of customers forget all the work that goes into getting the design work going and all that, so they might wait just a little too long. That's why we're always the first here at Golden Eagle in sales to tell you, call us right away. Let's start talking. Let us know your timeline. If you're sitting there thinking, oh, we're not going to build till next year, maybe we'll wait and call Golden Eagle when we're a little closer. You want to call us. We'll let you know if it's too early or what we can really be doing at that point in time. That's really the key is start as soon as, make that phone call, see where you're at in your process, and we'll let you know what we can do for you at that point in time. Let's get it going so that there is no delays, so we're not having any hurdles to jump through because you waited and now you have to, or you want to be in that home by Christmas, and we're trying to rush you through it. Nobody wants that. So give us a call. We'll make sure that we work out those hiccups if we need.
Sooner than later, without any doubt.
Absolutely.
So the sooner you let us know, the better we're going to help you plan for your project, and try to meet your timelines.
I think something also that you need to keep in mind is that we've never had a client come to us and say, I'm in no rush, just take your time. We're accustomed to efficiently taking care of getting engineered plans done, getting through that design process. If there are any delays, we're certainly not going to be the ones holding you up, especially when it comes to our process. So just take our lead. Your best step is to reach out to us, and we'll certainly guide you through it all. I would say the biggest delay comes from people that are held up on making changes to their floor plans.
Right, decisions, final decisions. Yeah.
Usually it's not a contractor thing. It's not a Golden Eagle thing. It's a decision thing.
Yep.
That's what I see all the time. Jan, we have a question here about full log homes, and there's a concern for shrinkage as to whether there needs to be any sort of bolts or anchoring system. As we already know, we don't need anything like that here at Golden Eagle. Will you touch on why we don't?
Absolutely. Full log construction, we love it. That's the hallmark at Golden Eagle. That's what we started our company with, was full log. Over the years, we learned that the correct way for logs is to kiln dry the timber. So we're basically going out into the forest, we're harvesting the timber in the winter months. There's a number of reasons why we do that, but we don't want to spread disease, and we don't want to have any sap in the tree system. So by cutting it in the wintertime, that eliminates the sap that may be in the tree. But most importantly is we kiln dry that timber where we get the water out of it and get the moisture content down to 19%. So by doing that, that's going to eliminate any shrinking. That's going to eliminate any insects or fungus or bacteria in that log by that heat treating process. So basically we're pre-shrinking your logs by kiln drying it so that there's no settling down the road. So there's no adjustments that have to be made with the Golden Eagle home. Everything is done once the logs are set, it's caulked, and you're ready to go, and you should be good for the lifetime of your home.
I think a lot of people think all log homes are similar to like hand-scribed log homes. Hand-scribed is a different system. We're a milled factory. We're hand-scribed. Those are the ones you always see, where they've got the jacks in the walls and they're adjusting the walls and stuff. We don't have that because we're a milled manufacturer, so we're guaranteeing those logs are going to fit tight.
Yeah. Speaking of price, we have a question here from Brian. Brian would like to know about the price difference between a half log home and a full log home. Is there a price difference, or is it just the aesthetic look?
Yeah, so when you look on our website, you're going to see one great thing about us is we put all of our package pricing right on our website. So if you haven't been there, jump on there. All of our featured floor plans are going to walk you right on the website there. It's going to show you quarter log, half log, full log home, and all the different prices based upon the diameter or size of log too. So that's awesome. I always tell my customers when we're talking price difference, you'll see on the website that clearly half log homes come in at a little bit cheaper than a full log home. Now, I always tell my customers that's if you stay within the basic, what we started with our standard specs, meaning a half log home, we're assuming knotty pine tongue and groove on the inside of the wall, but you don't have to do that. You could do half log on the outside, and then you could do half log on the inside. Now, the more half log you add to the inside, that's going to adjust your price. Could, eventually get you back to a full log price. But if you stay within that standard specs that we put out there, a half log home will be a little bit cheaper, but you're also not getting that log look on the inside either. So that's that trade-off.
And most customers, John, you probably agree, most of our customers that would choose the half or the quarter log are looking at doing other wall finishes on the inside. Sometimes people don't want the look of that log on the inside of the house. They get the log exterior, but then in the inside they have more option or opportunity to do different types of finishes. And we've always said in most cases, if you're comparing a full log and a half log in cost, it really comes down to the wall finishes that you're going to do on the inside. So if you're going to do a lot of drywalling inside, then yes, that half log is going to be less money because it's a lot less cost to do a drywall interior rather than a tongue and groove pine or log on the inside. So.
Yeah, well, wonderful. Speaking of different styles, I have a question here from Porter. Porter would like to know about the difference between a timber home and a hybrid timber home. And I think more traditionally in the industry, that would really be comparing a timber frame home with a traditional mortise and tenon joinery, where the entire home is done with that as its structure, as opposed to a timber home where you only have that through the main center section of the home, and then the wings of the home would be conventionally framed. So from a general perspective, that's the difference between a true timber frame home and a timber hybrid home. But we also get into the territory of splitting hairs. So it'd be good for you to give us a call if you have any questions, because if you've seen anything on our website, you'll see that we have so many different package types that have the word timber in it.
Right.
We've got the maintenance-free exposed timber home, our premium exposed timber, our ultra custom timber, nearly anything's available. So really it's whatever style you're looking for that fits within your desired budget. We also have a question here, and it is, do the posted package prices on the site include a completed basement? John, will you touch on that?
So our package pricing does not include any finished material in the basement, nor does the square footage when we're saying, we'll show optional finished basements, but that's not standardly priced. When we start talking ballparks, when we're working with the customer, those are one of the questions we'll ask. Are you planning on doing a basement? A lot of things impact that cost. Is it going to be a standard basement with just some egress windows in it? Is it going to be a walkout basement? Those are going to come in at a little bit different price points. So that's why we really need to have that conversation before we can just advertise this as a finished basement cost. Walkouts, you're going to have all the patio doors, windows, stone on the wall. That's going to drive up the basement price a little bit different than a traditional finished off basement.
So really your best way to get a price estimate is to get started with giving us a call.
Absolutely.
Then we can ask those important questions. Jan, Carl from Colorado, you must be working with him because he asked for you. He says that they're planning on starting their build in the spring. How quickly can they get documents for HOA approval?
Okay, Carl, and I know who you are. I think we just spoke today. The first step in the process is what we're working on right now. I'm working on a ballpark price for you. I should have something back to you next week. Once we get the ballpark done for you and you're comfortable with that, then we will move forward into plan design. And you come in and go through selections, and we provide a final contract. When you sign the contract with Golden Eagle, then we will go into final engineering. And we will provide state stamp plans. In your case, it's for Colorado. So that process usually takes about 3 months. So about 3 months from the time that you sign our contract, we should have everything ready to go so that you're able to obtain permits and start construction.
And then Carl also asks, at what point in the process should they come in and visit us?
Well, sooner the better. I mean, we like to have preliminary plans drawn for you first so that when you do come in, then you can get everything done in one trip. If you want to make several, multiple trips, then you can come in whenever you want. But normally, most of our clients will have the plans drawn, and then they will, once the plans are drawn, then we have a starting point as to make all their final decisions, and then they can come in and meet with our selection staff.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you, Jan. Thank you, John. We'll bring you guys back on later. In the meantime, we've got some questions here, specifically for Justin and Jeff. I have a question that Kim sent to us through email. Kim seems to have watched, she said she watched the video series on My Home Being Built, which is a 10-part video series called Building My Dream Home. I recommend you check it out because it's a really good overview of the whole process at Golden Eagle. Kim would like to know, what are the top 3 things I learned through the whole process? Well, first of all, Kim, I'd say you need to trust your instinct. You need to, generally it's your gut feeling on design that is going to be what you ultimately choose in the end. I would also say prioritize the spaces that you'll be in all the time. Prioritize the great room, the kitchen. These are the common spaces that you'll have guests over, and this is also where you'll spend most of the time. I wouldn't put as much priority into the guest bedrooms. Additionally, probably my third piece of advice is if you're running a little tighter on the budget, I would consider just finishing off the lower level in the future. If you have an opportunity to have a lower level, I would say that that's a great way to add square footage, but it's also something you can easily take care of down the road. Well, Justin, welcome back to the stage.
Thanks.
Jeff, welcome back. Good to have you guys here.
Good to be back.
We have a question also from Kim, and she'd like to know what it looks like to come here and do the whole selections process. So I'll just speak on behalf of that, but I'd like to hear your input also.
Sure.
Because that is something that a lot of people have questions about. They see all the beautiful photos behind us, they look at our photo albums, and you'll notice that each of these homes looks different. That's because we want to make sure that you are reflecting your own personal style. So Dayla and I will work with you, and we have other designers on our staff with interior design backgrounds, and they make sure to really discuss the items that are already priced into your package, as well as exploring other options. That whole process, really, we take it in any direction that you'd like to take it. We do have a structure where we generally work on the exterior finishes first, and all those colors start to tie in together. Then we work on the inside, including your cabinetry design and all your pre-finishing colors. Justin, would you say that this is a question that you get a lot, and what are people generally expecting versus what they experience? It seems to me like there's a lot of relief at the end of the day.
I think so too. I think they're a little nervous on how it's going to go, how they're going to make these selections. Are they going to be able to get through everything in one day? Because it's a lot. You guys do a great job of prepping people before they come, so they kind of know. Maybe they narrow it down to 1 or 2 faucets or a couple stain colors, and then they really make that final decision while they're here. So I think they're very, very surprised at the end, very relieved that it went as smooth as it did. We got everything done in one day. It very is a neat process. I mean, you guys physically walk around the showroom and pull the parts and pieces off the wall, hang up your cabinetry color and your stain color, and then your shingles and I mean, you guys got a great process of how you do it. It's awesome to see it come together. And Kim, I can't wait to the day that you guys come and do your selection. It's gonna be fun.
Something I'd like to add to that, I get a kick out of sometimes I talk to people and they think that you won't have what we want.
Right.
I think people are absolutely blown away by the amount of options that we have. One of our goals is we don't want to say no. For example, we have anything that Kohler, Delta, Moen, Pella, Tamco, big, Homecrest, Birch Legacy. If the wood can be legally harvested, we can get those cabinets for you. I mean, the amount of options is endless.
Yeah, I think most people are pleasantly surprised
Sure
after that visit, however long it is, a day or 2 or whatever it is.
We're geared for any budget. Let's put it that way. So yeah.
There is a question in here about someone who would like a masonry fireplace. Mm-hmm. Is that something that we would provide?
What we would do on that side of it, like Jan had talked earlier, the person wanted to know if he could use full field stone. We can certainly do that. What we would want to know is where you're going to have this, and we would reinforce, like down in the basement area, you would probably need a concrete block to hold that up. we certainly don't want you to have any deflection in your floor after this home is built. So you tell us where that is, and we definitely would design that in your plan. If you're putting it on the back of a kitchen island or something like that, let us know. We'll beef up the floor systems. You don't want deflection, that's for sure. So.
Same person also asked if we supply appliances. Appliances would be something that you'd be purchasing yourself, and then the local appliance provider would come and make sure that they get installed at your job site. Justin, a question was sent in from Emily. She says that she hasn't told anyone else this yet, but they actually want to build with us. She hasn't reached out to Golden Eagle or anything. They want to get started in the spring.
In the spring.
When should she reach out to you?
Well, probably right about now. I'll go take that call right now. But honestly, that's not a sales pitch. It's the truth. It really is. There's a lot of things to get through, and not to scare you, but we got to get through that design and pricing portion of it, and we want to make sure everything's just right. So yeah, we should definitely get started very, very soon. I mean, that first step is going to be that ballpark price, and like Jan mentioned, then moving into that design phase. So and the biggest, probably the tightest schedule we got to work with is the builder schedule. I mean, the industry is extremely busy right now. Those guys are busy, and we need to get within their schedule as soon as possible as well. So yeah, give us a call as soon as you can, Emily.
Speaking of the design schedule, Abdul has a question about how long would it take to design about a 2,000 to 3,000 square foot home?
Sure. I've done it in probably a few weeks, and I've taken 6 months to do it. So it's really where we're starting from and where you want to get to, and how many revisions you're going to make through that process. So like I said, a couple weeks to 6 months, but we can get it done fairly quick if need be, if you want to get started soon.
An interesting question from Miles. He'd like to know what a common mistake would be for someone who is planning their dream home. So he's wondering, is there a common mistake with the cost of the home, with land, with design? Is there something that you guys run into regularly?
I wouldn't say a common mistake, but what the questions that we will ask you to make sure that we are in your budget and things like that, we need you guys to be as honest as we will be honest back to you. I think that's one of the main things. We don't want you to have a surprise later, and maybe you didn't tell us that you wanted that walkout basement. Maybe you didn't tell us you wanted that bonus room above the garage. So I think, it's not a mistake, but the more you let us know up front, the more honest we can be and make sure that we got a home that's in your budget. Otherwise, we'd be spinning gears, wasting a lot of time treading water, not making any progress when we find out at the end that we're $200,000 apart or something. So the more info you can get us, the better, the smoother it'll go.
I agree. I think I could speak for all of our sales team in here that, we want to start off on the right foot. So, as much information as we can gather you right from that ballpark stage, the smoother it's going to be in the long end and get to that final, that home you're looking for in the end.
Yeah, everybody's got a budget.
And we want to work different how much you want to spend, but I want to get there as smoothly, efficiently, as stressful-free as possible. So yeah, we're not here to maximize your budget.
No.
I was just talking about that with the builder today. That's a kind of a touchy subject with somebody you don't even know, but it's something that has to be talked about probably earlier in the stage that most people are normally used to.
Another nice way of saying it is Golden Eagle will not take a penny from the client until we know you're good with the budget that we think this home is going to be. Yeah. That's why the ballparking and upfront costs of this are so important. So not a mistake, it's not, but just don't hide and we won't hide. We're very transparent about our pricing.
Yeah, we want it to work out for you.
Exactly.
So the more you can tell us, the more it's going to work out.
That's correct.
Bonnie has a question asking about what wood species are we using on our full log homes. So Justin, will you talk about white pine, why we like to use it, and then she also would like to talk about larger accent pieces like support logs.
Oh, okay, sure, yeah. I mean, like Jeff mentioned earlier, anything that's going to be legally harvested, we can supply for our homes for full log construction. It's just a matter of us buying the raw material and milling it. But we predominantly use eastern white pine. It's plentiful where we are here in the upper Midwest. It's actually the most popular wood species used in log and timber construction, just for its workability, its thermal mass capabilities. So it's a very beautiful wood as well. The grain and the knot structure is beautiful as well. So But yeah, we can use any type of wood that you're looking for. We've done Western red cedar. We've done Doug fir before. I think even a cypress one as well. So yeah, oak, yeah, anything you're looking for. But throughout the decades we've been in business, we found Eastern white pine to be the best. To answer the question about accent logs, it's an awesome way, a nice, pretty inexpensive way to add a nice touch to the home, a focal point for the home. Some of them are going to be flared posts, flare bottom posts, where you still have that root base at the bottom of the post. I think it's a few $100 to upgrade to a flared post. You know, it's a no-brainer at that point. You know, log stairs as well is another one. Usually those stairs are right in the common area of the home, and those pieces are works of art. They're you know, conversational pieces. They're usually right when you walk in the home. So. Maybe even utilizing something that's on your property. We've had a number of people, if it's non-structural, maybe a tie beam going across the great room, or some accent pieces in the bedroom or bathroom. If you find a cool piece of a log as you're cutting down trees, as you're clearing the property, maybe save it and we can utilize it in the home. I think it's a cool way to add a personal touch to the home. You know.
And on that line too, like if you have a mantle from an old home or
that's a
from
good point, yeah.
a
barn.
building, a barn or something
Yeah,
you want to
yeah,
put in that. Justin and I have both been to a home that I sold in northern Wisconsin, and they brought really cool doors in from a home that they had in the past. And we thought, why are you doing this? Well, I'm an emotional guy, and when I think of my kids growing up, they had their sizes of them, Zach, Justin, Zach, as they grew up, and they put that door jamb into that house. That was a focal point. Boy.
It went back to the 40s. I
Isn't
remember,
that
I remember
something?
looking at the dates. It was 1940s. It was pretty cool. Yeah.
Put a price tag on that.
Right. Yeah.
Kim has a question asking if we provide any flooring. We don't provide flooring standard in our package, but if you watched our log home construction video series, you'll see a lot of beautiful reclaimed flooring in that home. All of that was provided from Golden Eagle. So we don't have a tremendous amount of flooring options other than that really cool rustic reclaimed wood. Most of the time that's being sourced from a local provider. Jason has a question about wiring for full log homes. He's thinking not only electrical, but also for his Ethernet. Really, it's pretty straightforward how that's done. We do have videos out there must be about 12 years ago. Bob Strozen was one of our featured YouTube builders, and he went through a lot of log home construction tutorials. So if you search back into our old video archive, you'll certainly find some there. Would one of you touch, though, on really the fundamentals of wiring a full log home?
Yeah, I mean, we make it really simple. We do. I mean, all of our floors are going to be conventionally framed, so they're 2x10s, I-joist floor trusses. Really, only the different portion is the exterior full log walls. And we have a great video series. We have it detailed out nicely on the plans on how to put the electrical in that wall. And really, the contractor, as he's stacking those logs, he's drilling his holes through those logs as he's stacking them. And then the electrician basically comes back and runs the wire through the floor system, comes up into that full log wall where he needs to be, come back down to the next outlet. So once he does a couple of them, it's kind of easy, keep going through the house. And as he gets through, like I said, the first wall or two, it's pretty normal from there. So
I've had people say, okay, we got a full log home, and if we forget an outlet, or if we want to change something later, how can we do that? Yeah. Well, always remember your interior partition walls are conventionally framed. So you can always add things there, and you can also now put outlets and mounts in the floor systems, which are conventional. Right. So don't be afraid if you forgot something or want to add in the future, it can certainly be done.
Right, now I get people ask, well, what about plumbing? Well, plumbing never goes in an exterior wall, so it's always going to come up through the floor. So plumbing's not an issue in a full log either.
Sean's asking about the Golden Eagle Complete package. He wants to limit as much interaction as possible with contractors and subcontractors because he'll be overseas during the build process. So what would that look like for Sean when it comes to the build process? He basically wants to be hands off.
Well, no matter, Sean, where you are building in the United States, we've been around for 54 years. We've got a heck of a builder database, okay? And any name that us four guys would give you, we'd let them build our home tomorrow. We got that much faith in these guys. If they do something wrong, they will never build another home for Golden Eagle. So rest assured that with our buildable plans and our builders that are independent that we provide to you, they will send you like weekly, bi-weekly pictures of this is what we did this week. They have testimonials, they have referrals, long lists of them. And it's a small world. You'd be surprised how many people that I have gave them builders' names, they actually know of that project or they know of that builder. So we have great builders for you again that are tried and true with Golden Eagle. I'd put our faith in them.
And I think something that we see all the time is people who are building in a state different than the state that they currently live in. And they just want it taken care of.
That's right.
Right.
They
Yeah.
essentially want the key at the end of the day. And that is very typical.
And that's what I was going to say. And most of our clientele is that. It's going to be a second home for them. And the builder's the same thing, too. They're used to having the customer not be in there and may not know that they want to be updated. And they'll send them pictures. A lot of them are getting pretty technical savvy, with their cell phones out, makes it pretty easy.
Yep.
Dan's doing videos on Facebook. I never thought I'd see that. But, he's putting videos out there. It's pretty awesome.
On that note too, Sean, you said his name was, right? Think about that, Sean. You already have all of your selections made for this builder. This builder doesn't have to worry about taking you to store A, B, C, D to get your cabinets and to get your stain and to get your sinks and your showers and your faucets. We've already got that done for him. That saves him a bunch of time, and that material comes when he needs it. You don't have to worry about having a storage building to put your kitchen sinks in when you're not going to install them for 2 or 3 months. So we're here for you. We're the company that'll work with you on that, no problem.
Brian also asked a question about construction costs compared to package costs. I think that really calling in and giving us an idea on where he's building would probably help us the most.
That's going to be huge too, yeah. I mean, national average is probably in that 2.6 range, but there's going to be pockets of the country and in Canada that are different.
And like I was just talking about builders, we got builders all over the United States, and they get back to us on what it costs to build in that certain state or in that certain county. They have built homes there. We've got a heck of a reference to fall back on because they know how much the electric is brought in. They know how deep the well has to be. They are great sources. Again, great builder database we have.
So Justin mentioned the 2.6 multiplier. Really, there are a ton of multipliers out there. They'll be dependent on what your package is and where you're building. But really, 2.6 would be turnkey, so everything. The construction side of it would then be 1.6. So just for simple math, if your package is $100,000, 1.6 would be $160,000. That would be the construction side of things. Basically everything that's not in our package for a total of $260.
Yep.
Right. We also have a question about requirements within different states when it comes to engineering the plans and building the homes.
Yep.
How do we know what different states are requiring?
Right. Usually when we start that design process, or I should say when we start that design process, we will call the local building inspector and zoning official to find out exactly what's going to be needed. Because there is different requirements throughout the different states, counties, municipalities. Everybody asks for something a little bit different on their plans, and whether or not they want final stamped engineered plans. And that's a service we do provide at Golden Eagle. We have an engineer that's licensed in all 50 states. So we'll be able to help you provide plans from the preliminary stage all the way to the final stamped engineered plans. Yep, no problem.
I thought that's kind of funny too. I learned over the years as you would think that a state would be set. No, it's county line, that can change.
Yeah, right.
So the more we know again, and we'll contact the official and make it code compliant for your county. Let's put it that way, yes.
Shipping cost is a relevant question. This one comes from Matthew. He'd like to get an idea on, does shipping have much of an impact on overall cost?
Well, what we charge here at Golden Eagle is we charge so much a mile to get it to your site. And the first 250 miles are free, okay? That's free from us. Whatever we get charged from a trucking company is exactly what we would charge you. It's a pass-through. We do not make 1 penny on shipping. And again, the first 250 miles are free. So in the ballpark state of that, we can come very, very close. And I'm just saying a number that I figure that the shipping for this home would be $3,200. You let us know where you're building and we get you an exact number. So
great. Well, thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Justin. We'll bring back on John and Jan.
Okay.
In the meantime, I have a question here from Zach. Zach is asking about working with a VA home loan, and he's asking for some advice. Well, first of all, it'd be great to talk with your lender about the regulations and what you need to follow to get that VA home loan. I know one thing for certain is that the builder needs to be already approved through the VA home loan program. Guys, do you have any additional advice when it comes to a VA home loan?
No, the one thing that they do have to make sure is that the builder is qualified, because VA does require that the builder has to have a specific approval. He has to go through an approval process for that VA. So that is going to be something that'll have to be looked at.
Yeah, well, wonderful. John, Tara from Virginia would like to know if carpenter bees should be a concern for her. Will you talk about our high performance stains and the insecticides that are in there, as well as any potential additives that could be added in?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we, first of all, any insect problem we minimize by obviously kiln drying our logs like Jan talked on before. After that phase, we're using high quality exterior log home stains, meaning they've got insecticide, pesticide, mildewcide, fungicides all added into them, which as long as you keep up on your sealant, you're keeping the bees don't want to be in there, right? You're keeping them away. A lot of people get caught up in the pest side of the log things. I usually tell customers it's no different than a traditional home in a sense that, every spring treat around the perimeter of your house and you're good,
Yep. Yeah, we don't really run into that ever on a customer service end of things. We also get the question about termites, and really it would be the same as any other home out there. You'd want to make sure you properly treat the foundation and that you're on a program with Orkin, right, Jan?
That's exactly right. So there's, we get people that call in about bees, we get people that call in about termites, we get people that call in about woodpeckers. So, the same thing with woodpeckers. If you don't have insects in your log, you're not going to have woodpeckers. You put the proper finish on the exterior of the home, including a pesticide, that's going to keep any of the bugs or insects off, and that's going to keep your house free of insects.
And really a lot of these early questions when people are calling in, it's before they ever really start to do much research on log and timber homes. When they find out that we're doing kiln drying, that we have these high performance stains, any of these concerns really go away. We never have existing customers that are reaching out to us, calling us in about these questions. I have a question sent in, and it's asking if we do designs with barrel vaulted ceilings. We have a lot of opportunities to do barrel vaulted ceilings, particularly in hallway areas where those ceilings are already vaulted. I know that on my particular home, I'd actually consider that as well. So that is really a part of the whole custom design phase that we go through with you. If you want a barrel vaulted ceiling, it can certainly be done. John, we've got a question in here from Lorraine and Jack Balin. They are in Lake in the Hills, Illinois. And they would like to know who handles the permits and who takes care of putting in the foundation.
Sure. So again, our system is very flexible. If you want to be completely hands-off, like what we talked about before, we can put you in touch with a builder that will, he'll take care of everything. We'll provide the plans and all the materials, hand you off to one of our turnkey builders, and he's going to sub out any foundation excavation work, make sure everything's handled for you. Some other customers want to be a little involved. They might have a cousin that's does foundations. I'm sure our builders would work with that too. You get it lined up, put the foundation in, then the builder would show up and take over from there. So we can work as much or as little as you want to be involved. You can be involved in the build side.
And then when it comes to putting the foundation in, that's all taken care of through the builder. The customer doesn't have to be involved with that.
Correct. Yeah, that's what I mean. The builder, if you want him to handle everything, he can handle everything. He'll line up all the proper subs that are needed, and provide a true turnkey operation for you.
Jan, Zach, who had asked the question about the VA loan, he's got another question. It's pretty broad. He's asking for just some general advice on helping to keep some costs down. So he gives examples of certain wood species for flooring, for cabinets, choosing concrete versus quartz countertops versus granite. Do you have any general advice for someone?
There's no doubt about it. There are certainly ways to cost engineer any home. So, Golden Eagle has a standard that's set pretty high. If you're on our website, you're looking at our packages, we call them premium packages because that's what they are, and that's our starting point. We do offer what we call a budget package, so that might be something that Zach might want to take a look at. Where the budget package is still giving you a super quality engineered home, but we're changing a few things like our floor system. We may go from an I-joist or a floor truss system down to a 2x10 floor. We may go with a little less expensive cabinet inside the home. We may cut down on a few of the windows because windows are an expensive part of the house. So maybe they don't have as many porches or decks on the exterior of the house. So these are all little things where you can cut down on the cost of the home. Like he mentioned, the ingredients inside, maybe going for mica tops instead of granite tops in the kitchen. Instead of doing a tiled walk-in shower, just do a fiberglass shower. So there's a lot of things that you can do to still have a beautiful, wonderful log and timber Golden Eagle home, but just at a cost perspective.
Speaking of cost, a lot of people ask about the price difference between a Shell Plus and a complete materials package. So a lot of people want to understand, what are they missing with the Shell Plus? John, will you touch on that a little bit?
Sure. So we get asked that question every day. I try to simplify because a lot of people are visual, if you will. Best way I usually answer it is on a Shell Plus package, if you picture yourself standing in your front yard looking at the house looks completely built. Shingles are there, soffits there, windows are there, decks are there, rails. The house looks finished. You walk through the front door, all that's on the inside is framework. There's no ceiling finish, there's no cabinetry, there's no interior doors, sinks, faucets, that kind of stuff. Where on our complete package, we're then bringing in those finished items. We have the cabinetry, the sink, the toilet, the faucets, the doors, door stops, doorknobs, closet shelving, trim, tongue and grooves. We bring all that interior finish in to create our complete package.
Yeah.
Jan, we have a question from Jack. He's asking about different types of roofing that we would offer.
Again, pretty much anything you want, Golden Eagle can do. We don't like to say no. So our typical shingle is going to be an architectural shingle. We have an upgraded shingle if somebody wants to go from like a 30-year to a 50-year shingle, and somebody can go to a metal or steel roof. So people will call and ask, when would you recommend a steel roof? Well, steel roofs are real popular in the West because of the wildfires. They're going to be better for if there is fires from the flames or sparks coming and landing on the roof. A metal roof will shed the snow better, but a shingle roof is about 1/3 the cost of a metal roof. So if somebody's price conscious, then the shingles are a better way to go. So here in the Midwest, most everything we do are shingles. So architectural shingles, different grades, 30-year, 50-year, or metal roofs are all an option here.
A lot of people think metal roofs because of snow loads and stuff too, where most of the time our homes, I think you'd agree, Jan, we have steeper pitches. So all that snow is coming off anyway, plus we're engineering it all to the snow loads anyway. So really the metal roof is only for fire zones or just the aesthetics. That's what you want, Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Alex has a follow-up question about the roofs, and his is asking about rooftop solar. You've done projects like that before, right?
Sure. Yeah. Solar, that's going to be more involvement from the contractor. It's not going to be really, Golden Eagle is going to engineer the roof system to withstand the weight and the blocking that's required for putting in all their solar equipment. But that's going to be more something that will be addressed more with the contractor that'll be building the house. Him and the heating, contractor will work that with the homeowner direct on that.
Mm-hmm. John, Kim has a question about the decorative flare bottom posts, and she wants to put them at her front entrance. About how big in diameter will those exposed roof bottoms get?
You have to watch them, right? So what we'll do at that point is we're going to look at how big is that deck for you, first of all. Some customers really want huge ones, and we can get some really big ones. But if your deck is only 6 feet and you only got a 3-foot walkway, we don't want to dwarf that entry down. So that's a great thing that during our design time we're going to look at it. We'll maximize that. If you want a really big flare bottom, we'll get you a really big flare bottom. But we're also going to make sure that it's fitting in the space properly and that it works out.
Jan, Bernice has a question about, she'd like to do a loft in her home. The the floor plan she's looking at is a ranch style home. Can she put a loft in?
Oh, that's easy. Yeah, I mean, basically just as long as, the most important thing is the stairway. So we need to figure out where the stairway can fit into the plan and then we just raise the roof system, put a steeper pitch on the roof. We had a floor system up above and bam, it's done. So yeah, there's no problem easily to add a loft on any ranch style home. It's just you have to make sure that we develop a floor or a stair system in there so that she can get up to the second floor.
And to feed off that, we can take a loft off a home too.
Correct.
If you're looking at
Yeah.
one with a loft and you don't want that loft, we can make that a ranch house too. So.
Scott would like to know about, he's looking at a floor plan from a competitor, and he doesn't really want to go with them. He'd rather work with us, our products, our services, and our support. He would like to know if we would be able to produce a floor plan for him in that scenario.
Sure. So, we would definitely get you some ballpark numbers, work up that budget. Once we start the design process, obviously there's copyright issues, so, we'll make some tweaks, but naturally during the design process anyway, chances are the way we're doing our logs are going to be a little different than someone else anyway, so the plans will get, tweaked, adjusted to the way you're looking for. But yeah, I mean, if you find a plan on a website you like, call us up. I've had customers sketch up plans. I mean, I had a customer he didn't want to move further away from the lake than where he was. He was going to tear down his existing home. He measured up the foundation, sent me in basically a square, and we completely custom drew the plan off that. So we can work off our plan, we can get off something you come up with, we can do it all with our in-house design team.
Yeah, it's one thing to be inspired by a plan, but by the time you go through our design process, that plan will be so different because it'll be custom for you. We'll be addressing things that you probably never have thought of before.
Jeff mentioned it earlier. I mean, no two homes are ever the same. We have 1,200 plans on our website, and that's all basically most of our customers do is pick one of those, something that's close to what they're looking for, and then we are going to redesign that house to make all the special little changes that you want to create a custom plan for you. So everybody, gets their own design, really.
Jan Cooper sent in a question, and he's actually directing it toward you. He'd like to know if you would do an ADA design.
ADA, yes, absolutely. ADA basically is when I do a lot of log and timber shows and I'm doing the seminars, one of the first things that I ask my customers when I sit down is I want everybody to look around the audience and tell me what they see. And in most cases, not always, but most of the people there are 50 and over. So, and the point of that being is people want to be able to build a new home and make it comfortable and have it convenience for their later years in life. So a lot of things that we can do for ADA are going to be wider doorways. Instead of going with a 2.5 foot, go to a 3 foot doorway. The cost is very minimal. Zero entry is super popular, where maybe there's no steps to get into the shower. So it's a one flat surface into the shower. Or from the garage floor into the home, no steps. So that's an ADA compatible. Maybe make a bigger bathroom so there's a turn radius in case you ever do need a wheelchair in the home. Comfort height toilets, lever handle door hardware. These are all really important, nice features that really don't cost much money for these customers to get what I would call a convenience and still be an ADA accessible home.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes depending on the age demographic of our client, they don't even consider some of these things. I was just doing a selections meeting the other day, and my clients wanted to choose knobs for their door handles, but they also were about 32 years old.
Right.
And I said, you probably aren't experiencing this yet, but someday you may have someone in your home who might have some arthritis in their hands, and they'd prefer a lever. And that's a simple thing. It doesn't cost any more, but you just have a whole team here looking out for you when you're making these decisions. So just like the floor plan design, we're making sure that, hey, if there's another way that we can arrange that bathroom space so that it is ADA compliant, we're going to let you know about that and make that suggestion to you.
Yeah.
John, we have a question here from Dan. He'd like to know about adding a third or a fourth bay to a garage. So assuming that we're starting with a 2-stall garage, how much more would it be roughly to go to a 3rd stall and a 4th stall?
Oh, cost-wise for material, I'd probably say depending on what log we're using, first of all, is all going to play into that. Maybe 15, 20 grand, give or take, depending on the profiles that we're using. That's, material labor is going to vary in different regions. Big thing I would say is if you're looking at a specific plan, again, we're not trying to just beat it in to call us, but give us a call because, are we just stretching it out, or is it going to change some roof structure that we really need to look at? What's the actual impact on that design? And then we'll look at it and give you a little bit better price than just shoot from the hip. Here's the number kind of thing.
I think that's a perfect explanation, because if we're adding length to one side of the garage, you may be only adding additional roof trusses.
Yep.
Whereas if it's to another side, you're impacting each roof truss, making them all longer, all of them more expensive.
And you have to look at the plan, because what's the, what kind of roof pitch is on the roof. So if it's a 6-12 roof versus a 12-12 roof or a 10-12 pitch, that has a more cost effect than it does on a shallower pitch. So there's a lot more that comes into play. So we really got to know, we got to see the plan, then we'll be able to give you a lot better accurate idea on the price.
We have a terrific 3-part video series where we actually tour the Timber Lake floor plan. So that's the amazing luxury home. We encourage you to check that out. You'll actually see what they did was they did a garage below the garage. They used Spancrete above. So it really was a great way for them to double the amount of garage space that they had. And you don't need to add any more roof system or anything like that. So it really depends on your lot, depends what you're doing. They were already doing a full exposed foundation anyway. So we'll certainly run through those considerations with you. Jack has a question about ceiling heights. He'd like to know, what heights do we offer? I know we go wall heights. I've seen plans with 14-foot wall heights.
Well, it all depends on whether there's a flat ceiling or cathedral ceiling in the home. If we do 8-foot height as a normal standard ceiling height, we can do 9-foot. Our ultra custom timber packages have 10-foot, so we can go 8, 9, 10. Sometimes we even have a knee wall on top for when we do a dormer or a second level, where we got a 3 or 4 foot knee wall, and we could have up to a 12-foot height. So if they're going to do a cathedral ceiling, well, then that's going to raise the height even more. So it all depends on the flat or the vaulted ceilings. But anyway, 8, 9, 10, even up to 12 feet we can go.
It really depends on the style of the home. I mean,
does.
it's the timber homes
Yeah.
where you're getting more height in that center section. So you're not going to see that a 10, 12, or 14-foot wall height in a typical home. It's in the timber home in the center where you need more of that space for, above the door headers,
Right.
For all that timber work, the beam work.
A great thing to just touch briefly is we can do any wall heights, but through our design service, we're also making sure we're not exceeding any height restrictions at the same time. So, we'll check the local codes and make sure, can we go 35, 40 foot? And then if you want to maximize that, we're going to work with you to make sure we're hitting your wall height. If you've got that exposed walkout basement, first floor loft, we'll make sure you're hitting the heights you want, but keeping you within that code.
And we have found that out lately quite a bit, because people are building homes that are bigger and they're building taller roofs. And a lot of the HOAs and a lot of the counties are requiring certain heights on your property. So that's something that you need to look into. So when we design the home, we don't want to design it 40 feet tall when you can only have it 35 feet tall.
Mm-hmm. Jan Donna asks about if anything needs to be done to the land before construction starts. I mean, pretty clearly we need to make sure that trees are cleared. Will you get into perk tests and all of that?
Yeah, I mean, again, the general contractor will do whatever it is that you want him to do. I mean, if you've got a beautiful piece of property and it's completely wooded, I've got a project that just started right now where the builder went in, he's clearing the lot for them, he's putting in the septic, he's doing the well, he's even helping them with getting the utilities, the electric and gas to the site. So it really is all up to what you want the builder to handle. It would make life easier if the site is cleared, so that when you do meet with the builder, they know where you're going to put the home. But overall, the builder will take care of whatever it is you want them to do.
Yeah, thank you, Jan. John, what would your advice be for someone who is looking to build a log home? Just a very general question here. Do you have any general advice for a log home enthusiast?
Well, one, going back to think about what kind of style of home you want, right? Is it full log? Is it half log? Get that idea. Think about the layouts you like, give us a call. Be honest, like we've been pounding all night, be honest with us up front with that budget. What do you want to invest in the home? I always refer to it that way. What are you looking to invest in the home? Because it is an investment, but give us a call. We'll guide you through, we'll answer all the questions, probably point out some things that maybe you didn't think of, with the questions we ask you. A lot of customers are like, oh, I never even thought of that, so we'll guide you through that.
Let me just make sure that we answered all the questions here before we wrap up for the evening. Oh boy, we have a few that have been missed. Let's see if we can get through these rapid fire. Would it be possible to install automatic fire system inside a log home? The answer is absolutely yes. I mean, we see that regularly in states that actually require that.
Yeah, there's certain areas throughout the country that sprinkling system is required. We're doing one in Colorado right now that, they're 40 miles from a fire department, so they absolutely require that they got to have a sprinkling system. So, yep, can certainly be incorporated into the plan.
And that question had been from Abdul. We also have a question here from Jared. He'd like to know about building an apartment garage and then incorporating it into a log home at a later date. So John, we can add on structures, right?
Absolutely. Just let us know up front and we'll make sure we design it for that.
Our last question for the evening comes from James. Does the complete package price listed on the website account for average land improvement costs, or does it just assume that it's the package itself? So also he's asking about well and septic. Is it assuming well and septic? So no, our complete materials package doesn't include well and septic, but you'll also see on there that we do have a rough range for an estimated turnkey price. And the conversations that we're having with you early on, we're trying to put in a rough estimate for having well and septic, right guys? I mean, it's nothing we're really gonna know until we get someone to the job site.
Correct. You're gonna need to get someone out there to give you those costs. There's certain things we can't tell you right up front, but when we're giving you a ballpark budget, we're gonna tell you, okay, if I'm just throwing out a number, if I'm at 400 and you wanna be at 450, okay, we know we got a little bit of room to work with because landscape, driveway, we don't know where is that house going to be positioned on the lot. Do you have 100 acres and you want to build in the back of it, or are you going to build in the front of it? So is that driveway 10 feet or is it 200 feet? Until we stake it out, we don't know. But we're also talking to you about, okay, this is where we're at, build without the cost of those things. Where do you want to be at budget-wise? And yeah, we can get there and still keep you within the budget. That's kind of where we're talking turnkey numbers.
Yeah, John, you're absolutely right. I actually misspoke there. We generally don't reflect those septic and well because we don't know until we have someone there.
Yeah, it's got to get perked out and we got to see what's the average well depth there.
And every site is different. Some homes have water sewer system rather than well and septic systems. So yeah, there's just too many variables at that point.
But being that it is a variable, we do tell you all the time that we're not reflecting those costs and that is still a pending cost that you need to estimate for in the future. Well, we really hope you enjoyed tonight's discussion. We hope you also feel like you're a part of our family here at Golden Eagle. It's really great to have our 4 members of this panel with Justin and Jan, John and Jeff. We all really enjoy doing this and being a part of these Q&As. We'd love to hear your feedback on what you think. We'd like to consider doing more of these in the future, so leave a comment below. And if you haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe. We look forward to working with you in the future.